Hello, welcome to Geeking Out with Shad. If you've got a keen eye, you'll notice that I am not in the Ioniq 5. Well, I traded in the Ioniq 5 and got this, and what I'm sitting in is the new 2025 Chevy Silverado EV LT trim. So like if you've seen Silverado videos on YouTube, it's likely the RST. When they first came out with it, that was the only one they offered. I personally am not going to pay near $100,000 for a truck or any vehicle for that matter, right? And this one still really expensive. It's got a slightly smaller battery, so the RST has the max pack, which can do like 475 miles of range or something like that. Crazy. This one has the extended range, which is around 410, and that's EPA. I don't know what it is exact, maybe 408 or something like that. So EPA is, they have a test cycle they do, and it's mixed driving, a combination of highway and city driving. So, and it's under ideal temps and things like that. So the reality is when you're driving road trips on the highway, you're going to get lower than that EPA number, and when you're driving around town, you're going to get higher than that EPA number. So my assumption with this is around town driving, I'm going to get easily over 500 miles of range, and highway driving, I'm going to probably get somewhere in the mid 300s, 340, 350. That's my guess. So yeah, that's what's how that works. So this is the extended range LT version, and I'm gonna go drive it around a little bit, and then I'll stop. I'm actually gonna go try charging with it and see how the charging is, so I'll show you the outside of the vehicle when I do that. And I have this camera here. I'm hoping that'll work pretty good for this video. We will see. So here we go. Let's drive. Okay, here we go. I am going to go drive around a little bit. I'll hit the highway too. I'm just in my neighborhood. Speed limit is 20 miles per hour in the neighborhoods and stuff, so pretty mellow here. But few things immediately about this truck. One, I have the aggressive one pedal driving right now, so I am letting off the accelerator to come to a stop. I haven't hit the brake, and there, I just came to a complete stop using the one pedal driving, and it's pretty aggressive. It's cool because it's very linear with my foot, and I'm used to one pedal driving because I have driven an EV for quite some time now, and I really like it. Some people don't like it just because they're so used to the traditional automatic transmission, where when you let off the accelerator you keep rolling, and sometimes I feel like you almost like don't slow down at all, you just keep going. Right? If you like that feel, you can turn off the regen or lower it or whatever, but if you use the regen, you're going to get better range results, especially around town, because around town is when you're doing a lot of stop and go traffic. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna drive up here and get on the highway in a little bit here, and I'm not gonna run the video the whole time for that. So yeah, let's go get on the highway and we can play around with the acceleration a little bit, which is pretty cool. So let's do that. Oh, and before we get on the highway, I just want to talk about these modes. So it has different modes. It's got tow haul, off-road, normal, which is what I have it in now, and it has my mode, and my mode is where I can set the settings to make it feel more sporty or mellower or whatever. And one of the things that you can do each thing individually, like you can make the steering feel sporty but the driving feel more normal, or vice versa, or whatever. There's a few settings in there which is pretty cool that I like. Right now I'm just putting it in its default normal mode. This is like drives pretty normal. like like a normal car. I mean, it still has a ridiculous amount of power, but if I go into my mode and set it into sport mode, it's gonna have pretty quick acceleration. And then there's this wide open watts button, which is silly. Like it turns it into a dragster, right? So not so sure how much you need the wide open watts, but it does add a fun factor if you ever want to like get the full power of the motors. But of course, just like anything, if you drive it like that all the time, you're not gonna get very good efficiency, right? So yeah, let's go get to the highway. There is a lot of traffic. So this Mazda is gonna also turn ahead of me, so I don't know how well. Like, I'm shocked at how much traffic there is, being that it's 1:22 on a Sunday. I just don't know where all this traffic is coming from, and now I hear a siren and I have no idea where that's coming from. Wild. We'll see if I can play. I put it in my mode and set the things to sport. I gotta find out where this emergency vehicle is. It must be somewhere else. Okay, now I'm gonna try to give this guy some space. I'm gonna be slow. It's gonna annoy everybody. Yeah, he's up there far enough, so here we go. I'm already up to 65. All right, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's fast, and that's not even wide open watts. That's just sports mode. If I push this wide open watts button, it's even faster. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Driving on the highway, I mean, it feels almost like too punchy. So I don't like. I think normal is probably a little nicer driving on the highway, because now it mellows everything out, and I feel like I can normally accelerate, and if I need to accelerate fast, I just push the accelerator even more. I sometimes want to call it the gas, but it is no longer gas, because this is all electrons here. So yeah, it drives super nice on the highway. It's you know, I mean, the steering isn't super tight. It's okay. It definitely feels more like an SUV than a truck. Like a typical pickup truck, they've gotten a lot better over the years, but they don't feel like super solid, and they're kind of like, when you go over bumps, they kind of have a rougher ride and stuff. This feels way more like what you would feel like if you were driving a midsize or larger SUV, which is kind of nice and super comfortable. This traffic is a lot to deal with, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit here. And the nice thing is, this is a clover leaf, so we can see how it feels on, you know, like a tighter turn. It doesn't feel like a truck. So I'm still one pedal driving, so I let off the accelerator. I'm able to slow down to the speed I need. Now they say 30, but let's see here. Kind of push it a little bit. What am I doing? 35? Yeah, let's say 35 is kind of the max here, because of the taller sidewall tires and the weight of this thing. But then when you get here, I'm already up to 66, right? I mean, this thing just is, it's just like any EV. It just goes. It's so nice, like, to be able to have that, like, really good acceleration when you need it or want it, or if you want to play with it, right? So yeah, there you have it. I mean, highway is awesome. I don't know what else more to say. Oh, let's talk a little bit about range. I have 57% battery right now, and it's got 242 miles of range left. And it's colder out. It is, what's the temp? 41 degrees right now. So that's not bad. It's a lot more range, like 57% in my previous car would have been around maybe 120, no, maybe 150 miles. somewhere in there, depending on the conditions and the speed I'm going or whatever. So I mean, this is gonna go long distances between charges. That's the main reason why I bought it. I really like the range on this thing. It's gonna be good. So yeah, I will stop and get out and talk about this truck a little bit from the outside, and maybe some features in here. I don't know, kind of winging this video. It's fun. One of the cool things is that Google Maps is just integrated right in. So I have, like, you know, I signed in with my account, so all my stuff is here, my work, my home, other places I visited, and so on. And just because it just happened, another thing, and I'm assuming I can set these settings up, I just haven't done it yet, but when there's a car in my blind spot, especially if I have my turn signal on, I think that's when it does it. The side of my seat that car is on will vibrate. So just now I had my turn signal on waiting to turn, and a car pulled up on the left side of me, and the left side of my seat vibrated to, like, let me know there was a car there, which I think is kind of silly, but it's good. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it kind of makes me a little more aware, like, oh, what was it? Oh, okay, there's a car there, right? So it's just added preventive things, and it won't bother me as long as it works right. And that's kind of my opinion on a lot of these technologies, is if they actually work as designed, they won't bother me. But if they do some weird stuff, that unexpected things, then it'll bother me, right? Or get buggy or things like that. So that we'll find out about. But back to the maps, this is a huge screen, like, and it works just like Google Maps. But then the thing I really like about it is I still have access to, I mean, I have buttons down here for quick climate controls, but I have all of this in the menu too that I can just touch and do. I don't have to navigate into the menu or into the screen to do it like some other vehicles out there. And then there's these quick little link things up here that I can hit. So if I want to go home and look at all my apps, I just hit that and there I am, right? But it's super cool. There's music, maps, that's like split screen stuff, so if you want partial maps, music, or whatever, right? Like, so pretty cool, and well thought out, I guess is the word that I want to talk about. Like, it's what do you call it, UI UX. It's the world I'm in as a software engineer. It's well thought out in that respect. So all right, I'm gonna get over. And yeah, it warns me of where vehicles are at and things like that, which is pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna stop and then we will talk more about this truck. Okay, so a short little driving demo of the truck. The next thing I want to do with this is like a range test, and I actually have to go down to Iowa in a couple of weeks, and when I do that, I can do a range test. Now, here's how I do range tests, is in all of my stuff, all of my content, is I just do it as a normal person would, or as I would do it. Like, if you go see a lot of range tests out there, they do all this meticulous thing. They charge to 100%. They get in, they're really careful about the numbers, and then they get on the highway and they make sure that they keep a specific speed and all of that stuff. That isn't how we normally drive. It certainly isn't how I drive. I'm, you know, sometimes you get into traffic, you're stop and go. Sometimes I'm going faster. Sometimes I slow down because I'm, you know, in traffic or whatever the reason, right? Like, I vary my speed relatively. Yes, I do tend to set the cruise, but I'm not gonna be like super precise. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm going on a trip to Iowa. and I'm gonna come home. And what's that experience like? What are my range numbers looking like? What the weather is gonna be, what the weather is. I'm gonna drive how I drive, right? So that's how I like to do them, like realistic, like this is what you're gonna experience when you drive an EV, not, oh, I did this very meticulous thing. I mean, I get why they do it, because they want to just get an accurate number so they can compare it to other EVs. If you want that, it's all over YouTube. I'm just gonna do what my experience is with how I do things, right? And if I put bikes on the back, that's gonna have a little bit of wind drag, right? So stuff like that, right? So it's like 41 degrees and it's a little bit drizzly, so bear with me here. You can actually see kind of the little raindrops on the side of the truck. But let's back up and take a closer look at this truck. There you have it. That's in a parking space too, so you can actually see. Let's see how well I pulled up to the front. So it's little, I could have probably gone forward a little bit more. It does have the top down camera thing, so if you really want to get it precise, you can. But yeah, there it is. Looks really cool. How you can tell on all GM vehicles now, or Chevrolets anyway, that it's an EV or not is by the blue E. And it's kind of funny because all of the vehicles they currently have that that are EVs have an E in them. So Silverado has an E in them, Blazer has an E in it, Equinox has an E in it, and so those are like their three primary EVs right now, and they just have that little blue E, so that's how you can realize it's an EV. There is no other indicator on here that says, hey, this is an electric vehicle. There are still some tags and stuff from the dealership on here, and the reason why is because they let me take this on the weekend. Technically I wasn't supposed to pick it up till Monday, but I traded in my other car and they were like, well, you can just take it and then bring it back Monday, and then we'll go do all the detailing and cleaning and all that stuff on it. And then they're gonna also, I'll show you really quick, I have a tonneau cover that they're gonna install at the dealership, and they're gonna do the spray in bed liner. This doesn't have any bed liner in it, and I want that. I'll show you the tailgate in a moment, but before I do that, let me show you the frunk. Those are like kind of two really wild features of this truck. So here is the frunk. Yep. So where you would normally see a big engine, like a V8, V8, yeah, right? Where you would normally see that, there would be an engine, right? But it's a frunk. And so this is a level 2 charger. It's actually an Electron that plugs into a NEMA 1450 outlet that I've had from before. This here is the Tesla adapter that I actually got when I had my Ioniq 5, and I never got to fully test it, but I can use it for this truck, so I will test it with this truck in another video. This is a jump start thing, and believe it or not, EVs still have a 12-volt battery in them. I don't know where it is in the truck though. But it still has a 12-volt battery somewhere, and if for some crazy reason that battery goes dead, just like they do on ICE vehicles, right? It's a 12-volt lead-acid battery. I can jump start with this, but this will also help me to help other people if they have trouble starting. And I'm in Minnesota where it can get really cold, so it's just an extra precautionary thing. So it has little hooks to, I think you can get like cargo nets and things like that, and even more sturdy tie-down hooks. It's got a 120 volt plug in there. I mean, somebody made a joke that this is for tailgating, but since you're not in the back, that, what do you call it? Frunk gating? I don't know. So cup holders, there's a drainage thing for spillage, right? That drains out. I don't know what those are. That might actually be where the 12-volt battery is. I'm not sure, but I do know that this is your windshield washer fluid, right? Super easy. And I don't know what's over here. Oh, if you're ever in an accident or something and firefighters need to cut off supply, they got the little symbol there. That's smart. So yeah, pretty cool. Very wild. And I think I can just, yeah, give that a little yank and it'll go down. I could also close it from inside the vehicle or from with the key fob. So all right, let's check out the tailgate, because that is wild. The tailgate can do like a whole bunch of things. So it's got this extra part, so it's not like your traditional truck tailgate. And I'm gonna actually change the video to a wider angle, because then you'll see better. Okay, so here is the small part, right? So I think, oh, here it is. It has a little icon there. So this is this top part. So if I push that, I guess I gotta, yep, I can pull this down, right? Then there's a lever here and I can lift that up. So like this would be like if you need to have something longer, they can sit up here. I guess I don't know what real application you'd use this for. It's almost like you could sit there and chill out in the back. But there's probably some construction worker application for this or something that I'm not aware of. But for me, I don't know why I would ever use this mode, but let me show you the mode I would use. Now you close the tailgate again, you push the other side, and then the whole tailgate comes down, right? And then the same flap comes up, and boom, you'd get, now this thing makes sense. Like if I was to carry a couch in here or something and I have this and then some tie downs, at least I got a blocker here. That's kind of nice. And then I believe I can, this is the part I'm not entirely sure how to do. Let me close this. Nope, this side. There it goes. Okay. I did figure it out. All right. Now you have a step. So you could just step into the bed. That's cool, because getting into the bed at the tailgate height, especially being older like me, is really difficult to do. And I have an e-bike that weighs, around 50 pounds. And if I'm ever going to put that up in the bed, I want to be able to get up there easily and bring the e-bike in there. So this is super handy. I can see myself using this mode quite a bit. So yep, that is the fancy tailgate. It looks like you can just kind of give it all a push and it goes right back up. Cool. It's got 2-inch. You see the two different types of towing plugs, right? Again, blue E or whatever, right? This will be nice. I'm not going to do a lot of towing with this truck, but I will haul bikes on a bike rack with this, and I like the 2-inch because, again, I have an e-bike now, and you want a 1 1/4 is a pretty small diameter square tube on a bike rack, and so it's pretty flexy. The 2-inch is much stiffer and will handle e-bikes better. So there you have it. That is the outside. It's got the steps. And remember, this is the LT model. This isn't the RST, so it's missing a few of the RST features. Mainly, what is missing is the midgate thing. It doesn't have that folding midgate thing. But what's interesting about that is it exposes the cabin to the elements all of a sudden, right? So I don't really ever see a need for ever needing that. And this bed is plenty big for me. Then I'm gonna get a tonneau cover, the bed liner, all that stuff in it. So back seats, because a lot of people want to know about that. They are huge. Of course, I got all this junk in here because when I traded in my other car, I did that. Is this a subwoofer? I bet you it is, because it says Bose on it. That's pretty funny. I haven't even played with the radio. I'm kind of being older. I'm not like a audiophile person like I used to be when I was younger. But that folds up too. So when you have these all folded up, you have a huge amount of storage space back here. All right. And I'm short. I'm only 5'7", but if I get in here, plenty of leg room, and this seat is further back. And of course, being shorter like I am, I have that way forward, so there's even more room back here. But pretty cool. Again, USB type C, another 120 volts, so you could plug in a laptop or something back here. This does have the Bose speaker system in it, so that's nice, because this isn't the premium model, but it still has a nicer stereo system in it. So all right, I am officially getting cold, so I'm gonna go jump in the front, start it, get the heat going, and warm up a little bit, and we'll talk about the interior. And before I do that, as I walk around the truck, I'll show you the sticker up there so you can see the price. Oh, and at the beginning of the video, I was gonna do charging, but it's too cold, so I'm gonna do that in a separate video, because I'm already getting cold. But here's the sticker on it, and where is the price? These always seem different to me. The price should be on here. Well, the window's too dark for me to see. Oh, here it is. I don't know if you can see it. 76,185. Yes, not cheap. Let's get inside. I'm cold. Oh my gosh. So now that oh, it just came on this way. That's good. So now the heat will come on and everything, which I need. It's chilly outside. Seats automatically come on. I think it detects that it's cold outside and automatically turns those things on. Again, that's probably something I can set up in the settings. But one thing that's impressive with this truck is that it's got 56% battery left and a 238 miles of range. Like, that's crazy. This is 238 is what a lot of EVs have EPA like as their top rate. My Ioniq 5 was 260 when it was fully charged. The EPA range was 260. In the summer with that car, city driving, I would easily do over 300 miles of range with using regen, one pedal driving, all that stuff. And then in the wintertime, when it got really cold, it would sometimes, depending on how cold it was, if it was you know, below zero, I would probably be down to like 160 miles, 150 to 160 miles of range with that car. In the most extreme cold, I'd say most of the winter, when you're in the single digits and teens here in Minnesota, you're probably getting around 200 miles of range with it, you know, 180 to 200 miles of range. So this truck will suddenly solve all of those, like, I wouldn't say they're problems, but it makes it a lot easier to live with, I guess is the way that I look at it. I have level 2 charging at home, so I can easily plug it in overnight and have it charge, things like that. So that's super handy to have. But with this truck, it's overall less efficient than the Ioniq 5 because it's a much bigger vehicle. It has a much bigger battery. So the Ioniq 5 had a 77 kilowatt hour battery. This has a 170 kilowatt hour battery. And I believe the max battery, which comes in the RST, is like 200 kilowatt hours or 210 kilowatt hours, something like that, right? It's a much bigger battery. So, which then makes that truck much heavier than this one. This one's heavy, but it's not as heavy as that one. Yeah, It's pretty cool. I mean, I really like this truck. So that's enough about range, but you got all these options here. Like I already showed during the driving thing, you have Google Maps integrated in. This isn't going through my phone. This is part of the operating system because it uses Android as its operating system. The big question people have is, well, what do you do if you have an iPhone? Because I'm an iPhone lover, and people that like iPhones, they don't like Android. They're anti-Android, right? At least if you go on the internet, that's the impression you get, right? Well, if you have an iPhone, you still can connect Bluetooth, right? So you'd use this. You don't have to have a Google account, but it helps because then you get all your neat little navigation things. But if you plug your iPhone in and hook it up through Bluetooth, you will still get your contacts and phone numbers and be able to do phone calls and things like that with it. You just won't be using the whatever the Apple version of Maps is. They have their own version. I don't have an iPhone. I actually have a Google Pixel 9. Apparently, when I say the G word, then the Gemini kicks in and it cancels out my video. So I guess I can't say the G word when I'm filming with my phone. Pixel 9 Pro XL is what I have. Don't say the G word. It's almost as bad as the F word, right? So there you go, Apple fans. You get to enjoy that one. So you get temperature, you get all these controls up here. Here's the home menu. Super easy. This is split screen, so if I wanted to do music over here, something else over there, whatever. Music, I don't know. Okay, I have YouTube music set up, so this will do that. That's kind of cool. It says it's not working right now. Don't know, but I have to figure that out and set it up. There's maps. This is my phone connectivity, so you can connect. It says no phone paired because in order to film this video with my phone, I turn Bluetooth off so my phone isn't connected with the vehicle, because otherwise it's hard to make a video that way. It's kind of weird, but it is what it is. So but when I do have my Bluetooth on my phone turned on, my phone does pair automatically. This here is a lot of the quick access things. I could set it to auto high beams. I don't like that feature. Again, as an older person, I just tend to not trust that those are going to not blind the crap out of people when I'm driving down the road, so I'd rather control that myself. Dome light, power window lockout. I don't know if that's for kids in the back seat or whatever. I don't know what park assist is. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll have to try that at some point. Power base, I actually don't know what that is either. There's all these things I don't, well, it doesn't do anything when oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right, well, I don't really care for that. That must be for like if you're gonna run power tools or something from your truck. Yeah, all the climate controls. Let's go back to this. I'm kind of winging this as I'm making the video. Over here, I could turn it off. Generally, it'll turn off when you get out of the vehicle, but if I want to turn it off manually, I can. That's the timer where I can set it to turn off in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever if I wanted to. That's headlight controls. They're set to auto right now. Yep. And then this must be, oh yeah, back to these controls. So pretty straightforward. I mean, it's got a lot of things. It's got my things integrated here. That, you know, these apps, I added YouTube music, but for some reason it's not working, so I got to figure out why. And you can do Alexa. I don't do Alexa, but whatever. And I think this is all customizable too. And if you go into settings, oh my gosh, it just gets like crazy. And as I showed, you have, you know, your vehicle status stuff. This may take a second, but it should tell me like, okay, it tells me energy info, tire pressure is an important one, right? High pressure, it's a truck, right? A heavy truck, so I can understand why those are as high as they are. And then energy info, right? So energy usage. Okay, so this is telling me a little bit about the usage. That's my kilowatts per hour, so it's going to be a smaller number than what I'm used to with the car because it's a bigger vehicle. So it's going to use more miles per kilowatt hour. It's less efficient, just like in an ICE vehicle. A pickup truck is way less efficient than your Honda Accord, right? If you have an EV truck, it's going to be less efficient than an EV car, and thus you need a bigger battery to accomplish more range and all that stuff. It's the formula for that is no different than if you have a regular gas-powered vehicle. This has 5G connectivity and all of that stuff, so super nice. Storage, of course, I have my GoPro stuff here, so it's going to be in the way, but this, oh, it actually tucks underneath there, so this slides back. My GoPro stuff is able to tuck underneath, which is kind of neat. It's got storage here. This is wireless charging. That space down there, by the way, is huge. Like, it's a huge space down there, and it's kind of hidden, so I like that. Hidden storage. More storage in here. That's huge. It's all the junk from my Ioniq 5. And there's cup holders down here, cup holders here, cup holders over there. I mean, there's a glove box. There's this little storage spot, so like your passenger could actually just toss their phone up there and it would stay up there. I think it's actually kind of rubberized, right? Yep. So the phone would just sit up there, and it's got a little ledge, so if you accelerate it, the phone won't come flying out on their lap. I've had people set their phone on the dashboard of my car before, and I'd take off and the phone goes flying in their lap. Why would they do that? An oh shit handle, visors. I mean, it's pretty much got all the goodies that you would expect in a regular vehicle. These are your dome lights, right? Reading lights, whatever you want to call them, your OnStar, SOS, all that stuff. No, like, sunglass holder, which I was actually kind of surprised, because a lot of vehicles, especially when you get into this kind of class of vehicle, have a little pop-out thing for sunglasses, but it's not like you don't have space for sunglasses in here. You could actually probably put them vertically right there and have your phone over here or something, and there's a couple of USB ports there, so it's pretty full-blown. One thing I forgot to mention in the bed, speaking of power, is there's two 120 outlets back there and one 240 outlet back there. So that's kind of crazy that you actually have 240 plug in the truck. And there's the 120 in the back seat. I think I mentioned that. I'm just trying to make sure I covered everything. I mean, typical controls over here, windows, mirror adjust, lock, unlock. Haven't really, oh, this is the auto seat thing. I actually should set that up. So I just push for me, and then for another driver, if I ever have somebody else driving, maybe on a road trip or something, but at least set me up, and then that way I could just always push that and my seat would readjust back to the way I like it. The steering wheel is actually, it's not a mechanical, it's actually a power adjust steering wheel, which I was kind of surprised. So it's got telescoping and up and down. That's kind of wild. I've never had a vehicle that's had power adjustable steering wheel. And I believe the passenger seat is also power, and so on. So pretty thorough. I don't know what I've missed. There's lots of YouTube videos. This is the LT though, and I just want to make that clear, because a lot of the YouTube videos I've seen are the RST, which is the near 100,000 version of this truck. which is a lot of money. And this one doesn't have the pass-through like the Avalanche did, right? Where the seats fold down and things like that. So that's the bigger difference of this. But it's got plenty of amenities. It also doesn't have the glass roof, which, believe it or not, I actually prefer not to have that. Mostly because I do live in Minnesota, and when you get big snowstorms and you're brushing the snow off the roof and all of that, I don't like the glass up there. The edges, you know, you'll be with doing the brush or whatever, and it'll hit the edges, and I just would prefer it to be smooth up there, and I don't have to worry when I'm taking snow off and things like that. And it's not one of those things, like, I'm not looking up I'm driving, and there's plenty of visibility here. I get it that it's kind of nice to have, like, maybe the sun shining in, whatever, but it's just not something I really care about. So there you have it. Yeah, looking good. I guess if there was anything I wish this truck did have, I do like that it has the heated rear window glass so I can defrost it. I do wish it had one of those little sliding windows in the middle. That's always kind of a cool feature. And I had a Tacoma that had a power one that I could do from the front, and what I liked about it is if I could like to crack the windows. If you ever crack a window in a modern car, you get that thump 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 thing. What I used to do with the Tacoma is I'd crack my two front windows, and then I would just slightly crack that back window open, or open it all the way, whatever, depending on what it was like outside, and it would equalize out the air and actually allow the air to come through and get pulled out the back, which was kind of nice. I can do that, you know, I can just crack the rear windows if I want that similar effect, but I really liked the little middle window in the back, but this doesn't have it. Not a big deal. So I think I covered everything. I keep adding more to this video. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace. I will do a charging video here and a range video.